And we're seeing cars out starting the first of their flying laps, and people will be settling into a routine that even just looking right now, there's some fairly wide variation in terms of on-track speed, that this is very much a catch-all kind of a formula that not quite run what you run, but nonetheless it is lots of variety out there. Some spec formula cars, we're seeing a few Clios, we're seeing Fiestas, and that's really what it's all about, isn't it? Is to look at these kind of cars, and that all race cars should have a life beyond their first life, shall we say?
Yeah, so a lot of Renault Clio 197s, which I recognise from the last 10 years or so, 10 years plus of Renault Clio racing. We've got a Mini Cooper S from Norfolk Cars, Neil Clark and Andy Langley at the wheel of the number 2. Let's just see if the number 2 is out there. It is indeed. And that car at third in line out on the track. They're just really, I would imagine, just finding out where the grip is at the moment, Paul. We've got a very wet track. I wouldn't say it's dry. We've got a bit of spray coming off the cars. So that tells me that we have indeed got a wet track rather than just damp. So it's going to be a little bit wild. The ambient temperature is going to see highs of 20 degrees by this afternoon. So we may see, if it doesn't rain any further, we may see a dry line forming probably before the next qualifying session, I would think, if these cars continue.
I would have thought so, and I think we're going to see this all the way through the day. We're going to see, we are expecting to see rain coming and going a bit, and that's going to make a difference to all sorts of things. And obviously the absolute joy of anything to do with endurance racing is that it's not just the guy behind the wheel who is going to make a difference to the event. It is also going to be strategy and pit crews and all of those people as well.
And when you added a bit of rain, a bit of luck as well. Because my BBC weather app, and there are other weather apps available, but I use the BBC one, 92% chance of rain in about 20 minutes. Now, it's not usually that accurate, but it's accurate enough to tell me that it's probably going to rain very shortly. So my hopes and prayers for a drying track are probably going to be somewhat dampened, quite literally. And it's going to be the sun's scheduled to come out about 5 o'clock, so that's towards about 90 minutes of our 5-hour enduro car race. So we may see the enduro car race finishing in dry conditions, but again, it just adds another element, doesn't it? I suppose maybe not, because I know the cars are on treaded tyres, so maybe it makes the cars go faster, but that's no tactic whatsoever when you pit the license, to change tyres, because we don't really have to, do we?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Sunderland's answer to Louise Lear.
I don't know who Louise Lear is.
She's a weather lady.
I prefer Michael Fish.
Michael Fish? You're showing your age now, Bradley.
I am, that's because I am.
They're... perhaps we're not going to see the intricacies of wet weather driving. I just think it kind of throws a bit of a curved ball, which keeps everybody on their toes, to mix my metaphors completely. But cars out on track right now, and it's the 121 car which has been fastest so far with a 2:14.6, and then the 144 with a 2. So 2:14.6 is the fastest so far. 2:18.9 is the second fastest, 144, and the number 26 car is 2:20. So there is quite a bit of a spread at the front of the field right now. But obviously this does have quite a long way to run yet. We're only 17.5 minutes, or 17.5 minutes left of this session. So people finding their way. The track obviously is the first cars out today anyway, so not particularly representative perhaps, but the 121 is out there. He's just done a 2:26, which is that's a very slow time.
That's his first. That's his first lap by.
He's in the pits.
Yeah, is that Ben Davis in the pits? 121. Well, that was a very brave lap for an out lap. He's gone 2 minutes 14. He was about 3.5 seconds quicker than anyone else. It's Ben Davis in the Force Motorsport Clio. It's a Clio X98, a Generation 4 Renault Clio. Just putting in their second lap of this qualifying is the number 116. That's the Simon Ginn Colin Tester Honda Civic. They've done a 2 minute 16.3, and then in third place currently. Only 2 laps though in the bag at the moment, and that's the 144, another Foz Motorsport entry, another Renault Clio, this time of Pete Bennett going third. So Foz Motorsport's first and third at the moment, but like you said, Paul, not quite representative of what we're going to see as the cars continue to find the grip and the times begin to, or continue I should say, to plummet. So cars on their third flying lap, and as I said, car 121 is indeed in the pit. Still topping the timing sheets is the number 121 Foz Motorsport of Ben Davis. He's done 1 flying lap, he's gone quickest, so very brave. Bonnet going up on the car, so not quite happy with the car at the moment. So we'll wait and see what sort of lap times we get on the competitor's third flyer. As still got water coming up from those tyres, Paul, so the track not drying at all, is it?
It does look rather wetter than perhaps it seems from up here. But yeah, as you say, we see the 113 Seat going past there, and that's kicking up quite a lot of spray on the way into Old Hall.
He's just done a 2:16.199, which maintains that car in second place. 113 is the Team Dark Side, I'll not ask why, Seat Ibiza of Scott Parkin, and he just gets demoted there by the 144, the Foz Motorsport Renault Clio Pete Bennett, going into second, just under 0.6 of a second now off that Davis fastest time. But Davis still in the pits at the moment with what looks like issues. The bonnet of the car, still plenty of time in this session though. Still got just under 15 minutes remaining, so we've just had 10 minutes, so plenty of time to, and if anything, Paul, might as well just let that track come back to us a little bit. We are dissipating the surface water. I say we're dissipating the surface water, and every time I look back to Lodge over the brow of D Elite, I see spray coming from the wheels of the car, so there's still quite a bit of wet track down there.
That first lap out of the pits for Ben Davies in the 121 car, absolute benchmark at 214.6.
And just to prove us correct in how slippery this track is, we've got a car off at Old Hall, and can't quite see around the corner, but we've got tyre barriers disturbed. That might indeed bring out a red flag.
I would have thought so, because that's the damage for the tyre barrier, if nothing else, is complete. So red flag flying. So
Did you remember the binoculars?
No, I didn't.
You didn't get that memo?
No, I didn't get the memo about binoculars or.
I got a memo on the way here.
Ham sandwiches. I got that one.
Oh, excellent. It's just with binoculars I'd be able to possibly see. I can just barely see the front end of that. Looks like a Clio. I can tell you it's white, probably. But he has gone in quite hard there. He's disturbed the brows. Can't see exactly what the problem is. And as I thought, the red flag bringing this qualifying session to a premature halt.
Yeah. I think that's the Apple.
Now the
car centre car.
The Clio is moving, Paul, and
wow,
by the looks of things, he's gotten away with that. It's moving quite okay. Considering the state of the tyre barrier, he's bounced off the tyre barrier, dislodged a lot of tyres. But what I didn't see was any dislodged bodywork on that Renault Clio. I can't tell you the number.
That's about Renault Clio, doesn't it?
Current provisional pole sitter, car 121, is the Davis car, the Ben Davis, who has sorted out whatever he was unhappy with and has pulled to the front of the queue and is ready to get back underway. But that 2 minutes 14.6, I think that brings home just how brave that was, Paul.
It was, that it makes you think, well, he must have certainly put on his brave trousers to go out and do that straight out of the box, because that was his first flying lap that he did that on. That's Ben Davis in the 121 car.
That might be why he took so long in the pits. He might have had to change his trousers after that lap.
Yeah, so we have 121 and the 144 car is currently second fastest. 93 and 113 are on the second row provisional grid, which we very much expect to change. 116 and 34 and 26 and 146. 53 and 69 make up the top 10 as we sit there currently. Now, where we sit currently is that we had a car go off at Old Hall into the tyre barrier. It has made a mess of the tyre barrier. We saw the car slink away. Did he slink away after a shot like that?
He did slink away with his tail between his legs.
And but nonetheless, the car seems to be running. At least we would expect it to be getting back to the pits, but the tyre barrier is altogether more damaged, and that's going to need to be put back together, because clearly we can't go racing until that has at least been put together in a way. So we're going to be stopped for a little while, I think, ladies and gentlemen, while we see that being worked.
It's done a great job, because that car looked in a lot better state than the tyre barrier, which is exactly what you need to happen. Big foam kind of mattresses, aren't they, in front of the tyres? And the circuit maintenance crew already making its way down there to just on the entrance to Old Hall. Just give you a bit of a rundown at the moment. With the clock stopped, I say the clock stopped, the qualifying clock has stopped. We haven't stopped time. The clock is still ticking. It's just coming up to 8:45.
Oh, if only we had.
Yeah, well, we've stopped the clock with 13 minutes and 40 seconds remaining on the clock. And on the provisional pole is the Ben Davis car 121, which is the Foz Motorsport Clio. His time 2 minutes 14.6. He's just under 0.6 of a second quicker than the second place car. That's the Foz Motorsport of Pete Bennett, Foz Motorsport's Renault Clio. So we've got Clio 1 and 2. Then we've got car 93, which is the Big Kids Racing team of Kester Cook, the Ford Fiesta, with a 2 minutes 15.7. Then we've got the 113 number Team Darkside Seat Ibiza of Scott Parkin. He's on a 2 minutes 16.1. Already 3 minutes. It took them 3 minutes for that outlap.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean about, you've only really got 3, potentially 4 opportunities of a clear lap to get that qualifying time.
And you only need one person to get in your way, and one of those is gone. And it is a pretty crowded racetrack that we saw a big gap of not much, looking very crowded now.
Rain appearing on our commentary box. Our palatial commentary box here at Oulton Park, showing signs of that rain that was forecast on the BBC weather app, I've got to say, and for once it's absolutely accurate. It's 2 minutes past 9. It said 9 o'clock, and here it is, 90% chance of rain. We've now got, is that a dry line? No, it's not. It's a reflection in the window. So the track is going to stay moist and damp, I'm afraid. So these times are going to be interesting to see as they evolve. 2 minutes 11.6. He's absolutely wiped the floor with that 2 minute 14 and taken chunks of time out of that as the number 121 of Ben Davis.
Wow.
He really is the bravest man out there, and not far behind him is the number 144, the Foz Motorsport Renault Clio, Pete Bennett. So we've got Clio's first and second, but Pete Bennett has to find 1.7 seconds to get anywhere near Ben Davis at the front of the field. It's car 146 in third, another Foz Motorsport Renault Clio. So we've got Foz Motorsports in first, second and third. They certainly know how to make those Clios go.
Do you know, when I saw that original lap before the stoppage from Ben Davis in the 121 car, I thought, yeah, that looks a bit fluky to me. Had he stuck to track limits, because he was so much faster than anybody else. But now he's absolutely proved me wrong with the 2:11.6, which which really has put the marker down for everybody else right the way through, and with now something like a 20+ second spread across all of this grid.
And it was the number 44, the Apple Car Centre Renault Clio of Jordan and Ray Honeybone, that brought out that red flag, but that seems to have not been to their detriment at all. And they are currently out there with an absolutely pristine looking car, considering how he clattered that tyre barrier. The tyre barrier doing a cracking job. That car currently 15th on a 2 minutes 20.3 for the Honeybones. So nothing, no problem for them. 2 minutes 11.616 is the Ben Davis time last time through. Improving in second place is the 144 Pete Bennett. He's gone a slightly quicker on a 2 minutes 13.2. He's narrowed the gap to pole position by about a tenth of a second, but he's still got to find 1.6 seconds.
But these guys now absolutely flying. That Ben Davis, okay, the last lap 2:11.604 against 2:11.616 for his last lap, but hair's breadth in it. He's certainly putting down some very strong markers. I also have to say, Joe, that it's great that obviously with the heritage in the Trackday principles and where this comes from, the standard of driving out there is incredibly good. That I've seen several people moving out of the way for faster cars and making it very clear that they're moving out of the way for faster cars. That there's nobody spoiling anybody else's lap or anything like that. That these cars and drivers doing a fantastic job. You see
I've often said this, Paul, that at a club event like we have here at the Oulton Park, you see a better standard of driving than you do at some pro events. And simple matter is that the guy behind the wheel is probably the owner of the car and probably has to pay the bills on any damage or issues that occur. So you get a lot more kind of a sporting attitude that seems to emanate from the track.
But also, I think, Joe, that the other thing is, you and I talk about racing cars and races and all sorts of strange places, and sometimes people have been racing against somebody all year and they haven't spoken to them. Professional level sports, that people come in and they go into their motorhome and they go to the car and they go out and they do their stuff back into the motorhome and go home. And that club racing isn't like that.
No.
That you do know people and you do get to talk to people.
And the other thing is, the guy at the front of the field has probably been racing the car a few years and knows everything inside out and knows the circuits that he's racing on inside out.
Yeah.
Is that a Porsche?
It is. We have two
It's a
Porsches
944S2.
Yeah.
We've got a 968 out there. Team Bacon Buddy Racing. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, that's good.
Where is that? The number 60. Let's see if I can find it on his timing screen. Down in 24th, 227.2, and the Porsche 944S. It's not here. So that's the 968 I've just seen.
Okay. So
Into the pits to what will be the conclusion of his qualifying session. He's more than happy with life at the moment. It's Ben Davis, I would imagine. He's on the, I'm going to say pole position, provisional pole position. He's still got 20 seconds left on the clock, so still time enough for people to come through and go a little bit quicker. However, the rain is falling ever more, so that's debatable. Ben Davis pulls in the number 121 Clio. 2 minutes 11.6 is the fastest time of the session.
Neil Clark just crossing the line there in the number one car, the Mini Cooper S, with the headlight, with the windscreen wipers going. We have checkered flag now, so that is the end of the session. We can see if anybody can put in a stormer for their last lap. Keep an eye on the screens, but currently it is the 121 Ben Davis car from 144 in second place, and that just keep an eye to see if anybody is able to do that. But with this change in weather that we're seeing, I think that that's going to be pretty unlikely, because undoubtedly it's taken a turn for the wettest, and that we're going to see that the number 44 Apple Car Centre car, which caused the bit of a carambolage at Old Hall early on, crosses the line there, and he is going to be
He's down in 16th.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much got we've got the second, third and fourth place cars still out there on track completing their final flying lap. We'll wait for them to come through because you never know. I've been made out to be a liar many times. Now an improved time for the second place car. That's number 144, Pete Bennett, Force Motorsport Renault Clio. He has gone quicker, 2 minutes 12.6 is his lap time, but still just on the second slower than Ben Davis. So it'll be Ben Davis that will start from pole position. It's the number 144, Pete Bennett, Renault Clio, will start in second place. In third place is car 146, Force Motorsport of Simon Harrison. So it's Force Motorsport Renault Clio's first, second and third. Harrison's time 2 minutes 13.8. He's 2.2 seconds off the pole position, 1.2 seconds off the front row. In fourth place is the number 69, White Knight Racing, David Slater, Honda Civic. And Slater's time 2 minutes 14.025. He's just over a tenth of a second slower than the car who we will start alongside on the second row. Third row of the grid will be in fifth place, car 93, and that's the Big Kids Racing Ford Fiesta of Kester Cook, and his time 2 minutes 14.751. Then we've got in sixth place, rounding off the third row, is car 53, and that is the Team Norfolk Renault Clio of Kevin Sterling. Kevin's time 2 minutes 15.106. In seventh place is that number 888, the Honda Civic of House Roberts, 2 minutes 15.137. And then in eighth place on the fourth row of the grid will be car 26, and that's the Ronan Quinn Racing, Ronan Quinn, the driver of that Ford Fiesta, and his time 2 minutes 15.2. Ninth place is the number 113, and that is the Team Darkside Seat Ibiza of Scott Parkin. And Scott's time 2 minutes 15.281. Rounding off the top 10 is the number 47 of GRG. That's James Goodall in the Volkswagen Golf on a 2 minutes 15.705. That's the top 10. 28 cars that will start our MSVT Trackday Championship race, and that race scheduled to kick off the racing for today, would you believe, at 11 o'clock. So that's less than 2 hours away before we see these cars racing. It's a 45-minute race with pit stops.
We've seen the some of the cars pulling back into pit lane and then into the paddock, but we have a healthy smattering of cars now forming up sort of grid-like for the practice starts, sponsored by the makers of drive shafts and gearboxes. Those cars will just be doing their own practice starts. Great idea, because clearly with the heritage of this being from track days, you don't get a chance to do that very often.
No, you don't. It's a new experience, isn't it? How many what revs do I hold? How do I release the clutch? You know, the last thing we want is someone stalling in the middle of this 28 car field and causing all sorts of problems. So it's a great idea. We've got 5 minutes of practice starts. And I would imagine you get a chance to practice your start and then head off back around the track and bring the car into the pits.
Yeah, or whether they can rejoin the back of the list, I don't know. But going off 2 by 2, just with that practice start, great idea, absolutely great idea, and gives everybody the opportunity to do that.
So we're slightly behind schedule, but I'm sure we'll gain that back. Next up, after our practice start session from our MSVT Trackday Championship runners, as you can see at the moment, we've got qualifying, a 25-minute qualifying session for our MSV Super Cup runners, and when they get out on track and start posting some times, we'll come back to you and keep you updated as to how that qualifying session pans out.